Hello everyone, I am Rashmi Mangla. I am working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is Human Resource Management. This is our 16th lecture of HRM and we were doing Unit 4. So the topics that we'll be covering today are reward, kinds of reward, objectives of wage and salary administration, factors influencing wages, and essentials of a sound wage plan. Alright, let's begin with the first topic, reward. Now, what is reward? Whenever an employee gives a quite good performance, effective or efficient performance, whatever he is paid off in regard, we consider this as an reward. So this reward can be in terms of the pay which he is getting for work, that is the basic one, and it can also include a lot of things. For example, some perks, some promotions, some work assignments. So they all are also considered a part of a reward. Let's see it in detail. Payoff for efficient and effective performance may be regarded as reward. So whatever pay we are getting for efficient and effective performance, so that pay is called reward. The most obvious reward employees get from work is pay. The pay is the most obvious, that is the most common reward जो हर किसी को मिलता है. However, it also includes promotions, desirable work assignments, and a host of other less obvious payoffs. It can be a smile, you're doing the work, your manager, passes a smile to you. That means he's happy looking at you and smile. The way you're working. He is very satisfied with the quality of work which you do. So a smile is also kind of reward. Acceptance by a peer. Your work has been accepted by your colleagues or the co-workers or the peer group. A covert of overt implication that you're doing a good job. You are getting appreciation for the work you're doing, or a kind word of recognition. Word of recognition again means appreciation for the work which you have done. So these also a word of mouth, these are also a part of reward. Not only pay, but also it includes all these gestures also. Now let's see the kinds of rewards. Basically we have two kinds of rewards, extrinsic rewards and intrinsic rewards. Now intrinsic rewards, they make the employee feel better in the organization, whereas extrinsic rewards, they focus on the performance and activities of the employee in order to attain a certain outcome. Now let's see them one by one. Now extrinsic reward. The first one is, out of extrinsic rewards, bonuses. Now we know usually annually bonuses motivate the employees to put in all endeavors and efforts during the year to achieve more than a satisfactory appraisal that increases the chance of earning several salaries as lump sum. Basically bonus, what it does is it motivates the employees. Whatever work, whatever efforts they have done during the year. So at the end of it, they are given bonus, and that appraisal, it increases their chances of earning also various salaries at lump sum. That is, they get a fixed amount at a lump sum. Then the scheme of bonuses, it varies within the organizations. Some organizations ensure fixed bonuses, whereas which other organization, they deal with bonuses in terms of performance, which is subjective and may develop some sort of bias. If the bonus is fixed, we know that we will get it anyways. But if the bonus depends on the performance, then it can include some biases. Like, at times employees feel that there is some kind of favoritism going on, or maybe our employer, he's not very unbiased. So these things can discourage employees and can create a setback in their mind. So managers have to be very cautious and they have to be unbiased while giving the bonus. The second extrinsic reward is salary raise. Now, if we talk about salary raise, this type of reward is beneficial for the reason that it motivates employees in developing their skills and competence, which is also an investment for the organization due to increased productivity and performance. See, it is beneficial. Why? Because it motivates the employees, and because of that motivation they develop their skills and competence. again, which is an investment for the organization, because when the employees will develop their skills, they will get more efficient in their work. With more efficiency, their performance will get better. With better performance, obviously there will be higher productivity. So ultimately it is beneficial for the organization only. And this this raise is achieved after hard work and effort of employees, attaining and acquiring new skills or academic certificates, and as an appreciation for employees' duty, that is yearly increments in an organization. So, because of all these reasons, a salary raise can be given. The next extrinsic reward is gifts. Now, gifts are mainly presented as a token of appreciation for an achievement. Maybe you achieved something, maybe there was some kind of competition, or maybe some kind of tender which you have won for your company. So, for any kind of achievement, as a token of reward, the thing what we give is called gift. Then any employee would appreciate a tangible matter that boost their self-esteem for the reason of recognition and appreciation from the management. So obviously, see, we also, if we are working as an employee, if we get some tangible matter means which we can touch and see, we are getting any tangible thing as a gift, it will obviously boost our self-esteem. And why? Because we will feel that yes, whatever work we are doing, the work is being recognized. We are being given rewards for our work. So this type of reward, what it does is, it basically provides a clear vision of the employee's correct path and motivates the employee in increasing their efforts. Because employee gets a motivation that once you get a gift, you feel motivated. Next time you can do much better. It's not that it's not that you're very keen of getting the gift, but that gift gives a motivation to you to do the work much better the next time. Next one is promotion. Now, this can be done by elevating the employee to a higher stage. Promotion means we are promoting him to a higher stage, we are giving him new responsibilities, we are giving him new authorities, and offering a title with increased accountability and responsibility due to employee efforts, behavior, and period serving a specific organization. See, when you've been working in an organization for, let's say, 2 or 3 years, obviously you will, everybody seeks recognition, everybody wants a promotion in the designation. Like, for example, you had joined as an analyst. So obviously, if you've been working for 2 or 3 years, you will also feel that I also need to get promoted. And if you are working really hard, and if the company sees your efforts, your behavior, your period, your time period for which you serve the organization, they also give you promotion. Maybe they can make you senior QA, maybe they can make you team leader. So that depends on your level of work. And these promotions, they tend to give the long-term satisfaction of employees. We get satisfaction that yes, our work is being recognized. And this type of reward is vital for the main reason of redundancy and routine. The employee is motivated in this type of reward to contribute all his efforts in order to gain management's trust and acquire delegation and responsibility. So employees get motivated when they get this kind of reward, that is when they get promoted. So these were the extrinsic rewards that we saw. Now let's see some intrinsic rewards. As I told you initially, intrinsic rewards, they tend to give personal satisfaction to individual. In spite of the performance and activities of the employee, they are basically dealing in giving personal satisfaction. So let's see the first one, information or feedback. See, whenever you've done any work, when your seniors give you feedback for it, so that if that feedback is positive, that gives you that makes you happy that yes, you've done a work and you are given appreciation for it. It can be a word of mouth, but that appreciation makes you happy. So this information or feedback, it is also a significant type of reward that successful and effective managers never neglect. Whosoever are successful managers, they obviously give importance to this kind of reward, which is feedback. This type of reward offers guidance to employees. Employees are guided whether positive, that is remain, they have to remain on track, or it can be feedback can be negative also. That means negative feedback will tell them that they have, gives them the guidance to correct their path. And not only this also creates a bond and adds value to the relationship of managers and employees. The second one is recognition. Now, recognition can be, is mainly, and it can be a verbal recognition. Now, this type of reward, what it does is, it may take the presence of being formal. That means formally, maybe in the meeting you have been applauded, or maybe informal way, a pat on the back, that yes, you've done a good job. Like, if, like for example, if in the class you have attained the highest marks, so teacher, what she does is, congratulations, a pat on the shoulder or pat on the back, yes, you've done a good job, very good. So that is also a kind of recognition. What it does is, it boosts the employee's self-esteem and gives them a level of happiness, which will ultimately result in additional efforts that the employee will contribute for the organization. Then the last one is trust or empowerment. Now, in any society or organization, trust is a vital aspect between living individuals in order to add value to any relationship. See, we talk about our personal relationships also. The trust is a major thing, with the help of which our relationships tend to get stronger. Be it the personal relationships, be it professional relationships, they get stronger only when we have trust between them. So, this form of reliance is essential in order to complete task successfully. If you want a task to be completed successfully, there should be trust between the individuals. And also takes place in empowerment. When when managers delegate tasks to employees, they are getting empowered. That manager is giving them some certain power or responsibility, and this adds importance to an employee where his decisions and actions are reflected. Therefore, this reward may benefit organization for the idea of two minds better than one. Not only the manager is doing the work, but he is giving the empowerment to the employee also. And they also get a chance to take decisions. They also get a chance to show their leadership skills. So these are the types of rewards that we saw. Now let's see the objectives of wage and salary administration. Now, when we talk about wages, wages, it can be defined as a sum of money that is paid to the staff by the employer for rendering services as per a contract. When anybody is providing any service to any organization, and as per any contract, so the money that you get in, for the service that is provided, that money is termed as wages. Now, when we talk about the objective of wages and salary administration, the basic objective is to establish and maintain an equitable wage and salary structure. That is the most basic one. Ki wage and salary structure should be equitable. And secondary objective is to establish and maintain an equitable labor cost structure. The labor cost structure should also be equitable. But not only in this, a sound wage and salary administration, it also try to achieve some of the following objectives which are written over here. Let's see them. Now, to attract and retain the service of employee, to pay employees according to the content and difficulty of the job. Why is wage and salary administration important? So that we can pay the employees according to the content. See, whatever content, whatever their task is, and whatever is the difficulty of job, according to that only the employees should be paid. Then, to reward employees according to the effort and merit, whatever efforts they are doing, and on the basis of merit, that means on the basis of their educational qualification, on the basis of that also the reward is given to the employees. Then, to improve employee morale and productivity, wages and salary administration should be proper, so that it improves the employee morale, and when the morale will be improved, obviously the productivity would be increased. Then, to satisfy employee as to how and why they are paid. See, a sound wage and salary administration structure is needed because the employees should be satisfied. They should know that how they are paid and why they are paid. So these are the objectives of wages and salary administration. Now let's see some of the factors that influence wages. See, determination of fair and adequate wage for a particular job is very difficult. in order to determine a fair wage. It's difficult. So wages should be fixed in such a way, which is satisfactory both for the workers also and for the management also. That means, so sorry, the wages shall neither be too low and they shall neither be too high that the management cannot afford them. So there should be an equitable distribution. Let's see the factors that influence the wage rates. First one is demand and supply of labor. Now, demand and supply is one of the major factor which influence the wage rates. If the number of workers required is more than availability of workers, that means the workers who are available is less and we require more workers, then employees will be paid a higher rate of work. And this goes the opposite. If the number of workers required is less and availability is more, that means जब हमारी demand कम है and supply of workers ज़्यादा है, at that time when we have ample number of people who are ready to join our organization, so we can bargain, isn't it? अगर कोई if any employee is asking for higher wages, we can start to look for some other one who is ready to work for less wages. So when the demand of workers is high, the wages that will be given or the money that will be given, that will also be a higher. When the number of workers who are required is less, they will be paid at a lower rate. Okay. Then the second factor that influences the wage rates are legal provisions. Now government had made some acts or some laws for fixation of minimum wages to the workers. For example, we have Minimum Wages Act 1948. Now according to this act, the employer must pay minimum wages to the worker, and if any employer do not follow this rule of the act, then an action can be taken against him. So legal provisions also influence the wage rates. Then ability to pay. Now payment of wage also depends on the ability of the company or the organization to pay. For example, if there is a startup company, so startup company will not be, a startup company is there who is doing the same work, who has started the same work as of a company which is running from, let's say, past 50 years. But can we expect the level of pay to be same in the startup company and the old company which is already working for the past 50 years? Can level of pay दोनों में same होगा? No. So obviously the ability of a company to pay the wages, that also influence the wage rates. A company, or example, if a company running into losses, it will not be in a position to pay more than minimum wages. वो minimum wages ही दे पाएगी. Whereas a profit making company can give the workers share in the profit. They can give higher wages also, or apart from wages they can give some share in the profit also. So ability to pay depends from organization to organization. Then nature of job. Now wages also depend upon the worker's skill and the conditions of work. Some jobs can be done by skilled employees, while some jobs can be done by unskilled employees. So nature of job, जिस टाइप की जॉब है उसी के अकॉर्डिंग wage rates are fixed. So the nature of jobs influences the wage rates. The working conditions, they can be safe or hazardous. Wages can be high or low depending upon the worker's skill and the conditions of work. On the basis of working conditions, the wages can differ. Then working hours. Obviously, see, wages also depend upon the number of hours worked per day and number of holidays. For example, let's just consider, you are working, so there are some kind of jobs which we refer to as part-time jobs, isn't it? So do they give us the same salary structure as we are getting in full-time jobs? Do they give us? No. What is the reason? The main reason is part-time jobs can be, they have less number of working hours, or they give us the flexibility of working hours. So because there is the number of working hours is less, so the payout is also less at times. So working hours is also a major factor which influences the wages. Then comparative wage levels. Now wage rate also depends upon the wages paid in competitive firms for the same type of work. Wages are therefore fixed after conducting wage surveys. See, there might be a lot of firms, competitive firms, who are doing same kind of works, and usually it happens is they try to keep the same wage rates, but yes, when there is more competition in the market, the fluctuations in wage rates are made. Why? At times, what the competitive firms want is they want the employees of their competitive firm to come and join their organization. Why? क्योंकि जो एम्प्लॉय उनकी कॉम्पिटिटिव फर्म में काम कर रहा है, हो सकता है उसे इंटरनल इन्फॉर्मेशन पता हो, or maybe even if not for the internal information, that employee will be very skilled. So at times we want the skilled workers in our organization. So these wage rates, they can have fluctuations because of the competitive levels. So what we basically do is, in order to avoid this competition in wages are fixed after conducting the wage surveys. We first conduct a survey that what sort of wages are given in all the organizations, and on the basis of that the wages are fixed. Then cost of living. Cost of living also determines the wage rates. See, wages should be such that it satisfies the minimum needs of the workers. If your minimum needs are not satisfied, will you join the organization? Obviously not. So we should have such wages that they are at least satisfying the minimum needs of the employees or the workers. Then type of employment. Now wages depend upon the type of employment. That means if it is a regular employment or a contractual employment, obviously the employees who are regular or who are permanent, they have job security also, and they usually, what happens is they get better pay as compared to the ones who are working for on contract. So type of employment is also a major factor which influences the wage rates. So these were all the factors. Now finally, let's see some essentials of a sound wage plan. That means a good wage plan. What all things should it have? Firstly, equitable to all. Now, the government must secure the willing acceptance and wholehearted support of labor. That means all the laborers, they should accept the wage plan. Then only we can call it a sound wage plan. That means it should be equitable and acceptable by all. So, and management for the proposed wage policy or plan, they should also support the wage plan. On the one side, it must ensure on the spot the norm of a need-based minimum in wage revision claims, and in the long run, sooner or later, the target of achievement of living wage for labor. That means short run में उन्हें कम से कम minimum wages तो मिल ही चाहिए, and long run में they should get living wage for labor. That means they should get more than minimum wages. Such wages which can give them a little better standard of living. So the wage plan should be equitable for all and acceptable by all. Secondly, fair and adequate compensation. Now the wage plan must recognize the principle. Which principle? Of equal pay for equal work. Whosoever is doing equal kind of work, they all should be given equal pay for their work. And of course, there should be proper wage differentials based on job evaluation. If the wages differ, then wage differential should be proper by making all the evaluations, by making the job evaluation, by compensating the skill, training, experience and other job requirements. So all the factors should be taken care of while having wage differentials. Then simplicity, certainty and flexibility. The wage plan should be simple so that it is easily understandable to average employees also and can be administered smoothly. It should have reasonable certainty and stability. It should be stable and it should have some certainty. And yet it should permit adjustment according to changing business conditions and profit situation also. That means in case we have profits, so some adjustments can be made. The plan should be periodically reviewed also so that it is kept up to date. We cannot keep, a plan which has been made 3 years ago. We cannot follow the same plan at present. So it should be kept up to date. Next one, incentive wages. See, wherever desirable and practical, we should introduce elements of wage incentives. That is, payment by results and compensation should be directly in proportion to the output above the standard quota. See, whatever output the workers are giving, if it is above the standard quota, we can give them compensation on the basis of that, or the payment on the basis of that. So incentive wages should be given. If they are doing extra work, they should be given some extra money for that. The last one is merit rating. Now, introduction of performance appraisal studies as a regular feature will enable easy promotion or transfers, etc. If we introduced performance appraisal techniques, as a regular feature, so promotion and transfers, it can be made, that is organizational flexibility can be brought into. And sound merit rating policy mainly based on the ability and competence that will ensure higher employee morale and better industrial relations. If we have a sound merit rating system, which is very unbiased, which is very simple, so the ability and competence, it will ensure, it will boost the employees morale and will help us in having better industrial relations. So these were the essentials of a sound wage plan. Let's see some questions based on today's concept. What is reward? Explain the two kinds of reward in detail. What are the factors which influence wages? What are the essentials of a sound wage plan? You can jot down these questions. Stay tuned for the upcoming lecture of Unit 4. Thank you.